Ben from Wearable Experiments. Yep.
And so Ben, Wearable Experiments, this is clothing that does things.
Yeah, I guess it does. We've been based in Sydney, also in New York, and we've got an interesting take on wearable. It's kind of unbelievable that still after 2 years in the industry, people don't get that fashion is important, and wearable technology actually has to look good. So we're faced with this barrage of products, but no one actually wants to wear them because they don't appeal or don't really project an image that we want to project on the world.
They do look pretty awful.
Yeah, I think a phrase we've coined is people aren't ready to look like a computer, and I think when you see someone in Google Glass or wearing their wristband and things, it's instantly recognisable as a bit of tech. I think when you're pulling on a pair of jeans and it has computers in it, or you're pulling on your shirt or your jacket, like a Navigate jacket, and it's got seamless technology integration, it enhances your world or makes your life easier as opposed to interrupting or disrupting it, then that's a real big success.
So tell me about the Navigatable jacket.
So yeah, the Navigate jacket was a harebrained idea with Billy Whitehouse, my co-founder, and I came up with as sort of an in-between project to show how fashion could play a large role. We basically made a jacket which tells you how to get places, and it's, version 1 is it taps you on the shoulders, so you say where you want to go, enter the address, like the Metropolitan Hotel where we are tonight, punch in the address, put it in my pocket, and then it told me when to turn left, when to turn right. I could walk from Surrey Hills without looking at my phone, and the great thing is I didn't get hit by a car. The road accidents these days, a lot of people looking at phones, and I just got to enjoy the walk. I wasn't interrupted by technology, and it becomes a background to processing things, so I didn't have to think about technology. I got to look at the building, look up, look around, look at people, smile, and live my life without being interrupted.
And be in the world.
Yeah, be in the world, be present. And I think that's something that I've learned over the years. I guess the stressful life of technology and innovation taught me that you need to have that balance. And I've been fishing for years, I've been mountain climbing, rock climbing, and all those years of sort of breaking away from technology, I realised that if we just allowed normal people to live their life without technology, we call it like get away from the keyboard, get up, live your life, get outside. Technology actually does have a place in that world. If it enhances our world in this way.
Well, being able to navigate without having to look at your phone, without having to sort of have that zombie stare down at things,
exactly.
That sounds like it'd be really, really just an integrated part of your life.
It is, and I take my Navigate jacket. I took it to South by Southwest, to the San Francisco conference there. I'm going to New York next week to basically talk about fashion and tech and how fashion is so important. And yeah, I put on my jacket and I don't have to look at my phone again. So that's just like version 1. Version 2 would be a jacket which tells me which hidden destinations. How do you get to Campbell's apartment, this hidden apartment in New York? How do you get to this underground jazz bar in Paris? And those experiences will be curated by your friends. It might be curated by a brand. It may be curated by your lover or your wife. And so wearing something like that which takes you to places and allows you to experience new things, it may bring people together. But I'm looking for someone, punching my friend's name and your jacket's bringing the two people together quickly.
That's amazing. And the jacket isn't the only thing you're developing.
Yeah, we just released our product about 2 weeks ago for Foxtel and CHE, Fox MD, which is their agency. And we basically allowed fans of sport to feel the emotions and the sensations of their favourite teams. So Wearable Experiments is all about connecting people and enhancing their lives. So we thought a sports angle or connecting people to a traditional game of AFL football was a nice take on wearable tech. So what we've done is if a player's just scored a goal, that elation, that sort of excitement gets transferred through haptic feedback to the wearer instantly. So you've got elation, despair, frustration. All of these things are basically transferred real time to the fans, and we're just going to see where we can take that.
So how do you transfer all those feelings?
We've basically been developing a language of touch. So we think touch is something that we don't get enough of in as well. I guess we've got a bit of a sneak peek in doing wearable for Durex with the Underwear campaign. So I guess being pioneers in the touch space, I don't know if you've heard, but Funderwear was like transferring touch to your lover, so you controlled their underwear and they controlled yours. And so that's where we started, and I think developing the language of touch is something we all need more of, and connecting you to a sports player. Maybe you're watching motorsports, maybe it's, I mean, we've been talking about Red Bull. If you were to experience what a skydiver felt, or a base jumper as he's buzzing the cliff, like how fast is his heart beating, to see the video as well, like create all of these sensations, and you could put yourself in someone else's shoes. I think it's, empathy really.
Yeah.
How do you improve empathy in a world today full of technology and everything?
And you can network these up together.
Yeah, that's the thing. With technology today, networks today, they're so fast, the chips are so fast, the chips are so cheap that you could, basically connect everyone to everyone else, real time, and allow them to, I guess, get a little glimpse into what each other's worlds are. Google, I think the most interesting thing about Google Glass is actually the fact you can see what someone else is seeing real time. It's not a selfie. Google Glass is the opposite of a selfie. It's like look at what other people see,
yes,
and experience what they see. Google Glass owns that, and I think they should be pushing that. I don't know why they're not pushing that more. We're pushing that. What do other people feel? Let other people feel that too.
Yeah. So the Funderwear and the football, was it a shirt for the football?
It was a fan jersey. So it was a branded jersey that you basically put on at the start of the game. And it was for a promotion, so everyone that subscribed to Foxtel, ironically Foxtel's message to you was, we'll get you closer to the game. And so when we started talking, it was like, well, yeah, we probably can get you closer to the game. Closer than the TV can get you.
Yeah. So, and the Funderwear was also for a campaign? Yeah,
same thing. Funderwear was how do you transfer touch and help long-distance relationships. So I think it's what I know. My background's in working with agencies, and there's an enormous market for wearable technology to change the perception of brands and for brands to be seen in new light. And Google Glass is a rebranding exercise for Google. How many people try it on? Probably 1% of the audience. How many people think differently because they created it? A lot. And I'd like to, if anyone's listening out there, I'd like to work with insurance companies, I'd like to work with telecom companies. There's all of these companies which are sitting on enormous pools of money. They wasted it all on stupid advertising and billboards and posters and stuff. It's like, no, improve people's lives. If we can get 1% of a telco's communications budget for what they spend on TV ads and actually go, hey, Optus or Telstra, if you spent 1% of your money to improve the lives of the elderly, I'd rather take that 1% and improve the lives of the elderly than put another campaign on a TV or see another billboard.
Absolutely. There's so much potential. You were talking earlier about ECG readings and other things that you could... Well, you're already looking at heartbeat, and there must be all sorts of medical potential.
Yeah, the medical market's huge. I think medical's tough because there's approval you need to go through to get a device to market. There's some devices that maybe sit on the periphery of medical which I'd like to explore with people, and that would be like to be able, instead of going, okay, glass, it's like, okay, grandma, like to know what grandma's heartbeat is, to know what she might be feeling just briefly, so you know she's okay. We've got an elderly, aging population. They don't have as much contact. They're not on Facebook. They're living more solitary lives. If you could connect with your grandma, or you could know what how she's feeling at any one time, it might actually sort of reconnect these people which are being sort of left off the digital platforms that are currently being developed. Like grandma's not going to put on Oculus as a lad, but grandma might put on a new alert necklace, and it's a beautiful necklace that she wears. And so she knows if she's ever in trouble, she can press it and all her family get notified. Or I was talking about someone a locket, so she could open up the locket and see a photo, and it's the latest photo of her grandchildren that, yes, they post on Facebook, but it's grandma's curated photos that she can then show her friends. The new photo posted, it vibrates. She opens her locket, and her daughter Scarlett is just won a maths award. Scarlett these days is not going to call grandma. She's not going to be able to communicate with her over Facebook.
And then there's memory aids for people with Alzheimer's and other memory issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we need to be doing a lot more to reintegrate the elderly and the young into our lives. We've touched on sort of where Wearable might, I guess, improve the connections to the elderly, but young people, education, all of these things. It's like we need to basically be teaching our kids to program, teaching them to be makers. Basically going back to crafts. Like my kids are basically surrounded by all of these tools and these things that they can create. I'd love it if schools were workshops for people to create new stuff.
And so, where do you reckon people should start if they want to get into making things like this?
I don't know, a craft movement. It's like you need to get back to using your hands. Whether it's sewing, there's different things that people are good at, different skills. You know, maybe we're using lathes, or maybe doing soldering, or maybe doing weaving. If we put down our keyboards, if everyone threw away their keyboard, or at least just decided to not use their keyboard for 10 hours a day, or when they got home, or turned off their TV, and actually picked up a tool and learned to use tools again, I think the stuff we'd create would be amazing. It's not that far gone that we've forgotten.
So what's the next project for you?
I guess I'd like to create a space where people could come and test out their skills. So I don't expect people to go and buy a lathe or, I don't know, buy a machine to do soldering. But if I could create a sheltered workshop where kids, adults, retirees could come and use the latest tools. And it can't just be cheesy stuff, like it can't be like, here's a 3D printer. Print a photo, print a model of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's like 3D printer will be in the back corner. It's like, how do you use a lathe? How do you use a CAD/CAM machine? How do you use a injection molding machine? How do you use really, they're advanced tools, but enable people to make what they imagine. We kind of missed the boat with teaching people to program what they imagine. I still think we'll figure that out eventually. Everyone will be programming, but we haven't solved that one. So I think it's funny that we're actually skipping that and going straight on to how to make stuff.
And if people want to look online for your work, where should they look?
It's pretty. Actually, I recommend people go to our Instagram and Twitter feed at Wearable X. Easy to find. We're actually on that more than the website. So at Wearable X there's basically been a history of our life, myself and Billy developing wearable tech, our tour of the world and meeting cool people in space, fashion designers, brands, Playboy Mansion trips, meeting Hugh and Crystal and stuff. So yeah, if you get onto at Wearable X and look there, I think that's probably the best place to get a glimpse of what we're doing. And
can people buy any of these products, or are they just for the promotions?
At the moment, they've just been for promotions. Navigate jacket, we'd definitely like to get out there. It's one of those things we've done our time building stuff for other people. It's like we want to roll our stuff. So yeah, keep an eye out on the Twitter feed and stuff. And it won't be silent.
Terrific. Well, Moir, thank you very much.
Yeah, love to meet you. Thank you very much for your time.